Hi, girls and boys. I hope you're all well. And happy Father's Day to all the dads who are watching. Girls and boys, I hope that you've spoiled your dads and that you're going to have a lovely day together, celebrating your father, who he is, and what he does for you. So with this in mind, the story that we're going to read today is called The Two Sons, and it comes from the Bible, from the New Testament, Luke, chapter 15, verses 11 to 32. I'm going to read out of a children's Bible for you all, and the older children can go take their Bibles and they can have a look in their Bibles and read the full chapter. There was once a man who had two sons. The older son stayed at home. He worked hard in the fields. The younger son wasn't happy at home. When he was old enough, he took his share of the family's money and left home. The young man went to another country and lived a wild life. He didn't care how much money he spent, as long as he was having fun. In a few years, the money ran out. The fun stopped. Soon, he had nothing to eat. He went to work for a man. The man sent him out to take care of the pigs. The young man would have been glad to eat what the pigs were eating, but no one gave him a thing. Finally, there was only one thing he could do. He went back home. His father was working out in the fields. He looked up and saw his son, all ragged and dirty. He ran to him, hugged him, and kissed him. The son told his father he had lived a bad life and was sorry. "I am no longer good enough to be called your son," he said. But his father was happy to have him back after so many years. He gave him sandals, new clothes, and even a ring for his finger. He got everything ready for a big party to celebrate his return. This made the older son angry. He had worked hard for his father all the years his brother had been gone, but his father had never done anything special for him. The father told him, "My son, everything I have is yours, but we should be glad and we should celebrate. Your brother was dead, but now he is alive. He was lost, but has now been found." So, girls and boys, that story teaches us something very important. Our dads, just like our mothers, love us. They love us so much. They will do anything for us. We know that sometimes we make dad and mom sometimes a little bit cross, sometimes more than a little bit cross and maybe very angry. But the fact remains that your dad and your mum, but because we're focusing on Father's Day today, your dad will always love you no matter what. And you might leave them, all right? You might leave your parents to go to boarding school or to go to university, or maybe one day when you're older, you might go overseas and travel. But you will always be welcome back in your home. And your dad, along with your mum, will always welcome you with open arms. And that's a very important thing to remember. Another important thing to remember is that it doesn't matter what you do. Okay, it really doesn't matter. And the older children, as you're getting older, the teens, you are going to make a lot of mistakes, just as we all do all the time. But it's all part of growing up, isn't it? And it doesn't matter. Your parents will get cross with you, and that is absolutely fine. But the important thing is, did you learn from your mistake? Okay, did you fix it? And just remember that your parents, your mum and your dad, they are there just like God is there. They are always there watching over you and protecting you. And we've talked about this before. We've talked about how sometimes we don't like the answers our parents give us, do we? Sometimes the answer is no when we want to do something like go to the movies with our friends or go to a party. or even have sweets. But sometimes when mom and dad say no, you get so cross that you can't see. You just see red, don't you? There's just this sheet of red or dark that comes in front of your face, and you can't reason anymore. What you have to stop and do, and I know that it's hard, but I want you to practice this. You need to stop. You need to take a deep breath, and you need to understand that your mom or your dad has said no or given you this answer for a reason. They are there to protect us. And the father of our families has a very heavy responsibility that weighs down on his shoulders. He needs to look after his wife and his children. So he's got a lot of us to look after, doesn't he? And sometimes that responsibility can get a bit overwhelming, even for dads, even for adults. And that's something that you need to remember, girls and boys, because as much as your dad encourages you to do things, you might be a bit scared to go for a team tryout at school for a sport, or you might be a bit scared before an exam or a test. The littlies, you might be a little bit nervous about going back to school. Your dad is going to encourage you alongside your mum. They're going to say, this is going to be okay. We are sending you to school. We are taking the responsibility, but we know that you will be safe. And they're going to encourage you, and they're going to talk to you, and they're going to help you. And so they are helping God to teach you what is okay and that things are in control. Girls and boys, think very carefully about what your life would be like if you didn't have that encouragement. Because we know that there are children out there who don't have that encouragement. And we need to think about how grateful we are to have somebody who holds our hand and takes those steps with us. And so I need you today to go to your dad especially, but also to mum, and go and give them a big hug and a big kiss and say thank you. Thank you for all the encouragement and the love that you give us. Okay, as they follow God, and through them, God teaches you how to behave. Hands together, eyes closed. Dear God, thank you so much for our parents, especially today. We honor our fathers. Thank you for all that they take on and all that they do for our families. They have a heavy responsibility, Lord, and we appreciate them every single day. Help us to be kind to them, and help us to show them that we love them, that we honor them, and that we respect them. Amen. Have a beautiful day, girls and boys. Enjoy celebrating with your dads, and we will see you all next week. Bye.